I have something to say.
Because the night wouldn't be complete without Triple H taking up necessary TV time just to massage his own ego. He says he doesn't care about the fans' opinions. What else is new? And the Authority are going to win. Michael Cole says people claim that him and Steph's egos are out of control and they no longer know how to lead. Where have these people been for the last year? Team Cena is called out and Triple H makes it clear that come Sunday, if they lose, every single one of them except John Cena is fired. Talk about a future sore loser. Nice to know Triple H hasn't changed. 15 minutes of an ego padding session? This is just classic Triple H. Somewhere in this world, Jim Cornette must be doing backflips knowing that filler time was wasted when we could have had a match. Jim Cornette is awesome. This was a good, opening and entertaining contest, with Ziggler practically throwing everything at Rusev except excellent storylines. It's the truth. Rusev wins via pinfall. If this is a sign of things to come for this Sunday, then this does not bode well for Team Cena. Aside the craziness that took place not only on commentary but with Sandow acting like an idiot copying Miz's very actions, the wrestling that did go on was decent. It was albeit it was a brief, decent tag team match, with Los Matadores being very competent and with Diego gaining the victory via crossbody.
I have something to say.
Ambrose talks about his very being is a survival kit and how he learned to be tough and a survivor from a very young age. Dean went into a very dark place as he lowered the tone of his voice, sending a message to Bray Wyatt that come this Sunday, he will put him down. Bray appears on the Tron. Oh, great. Oni, no! He talks about the prison cell that he's in is the prison of Dean's own design and makes references to his father. I don't know which is crazier, and that scares me.
Bring out the divas!
You gotta love AJ for playing mind games and coming out dressed as Nikki Bella. Or AJ Bella, in this case. Ain't it funny when AJ does Nikki's entrance better and looks even hotter than Nikki? Face the facts, Nikki, you're not even a poor woman's Kelly Kelly. Come at me. AJ made the match worth watching, and with Brie, despite being the better Bella, was just lackluster in this match. AJ wins via pinfall. Rowan is a rare specimen, as I've never seen anyone manhandle Cesaro like that, like a toy, and making him submit to win the match. Yet despite his brute power and strength, he's surprisingly quick and nimble. This guy's one to watch. Luke Harper plays mind games with his former stablemate by teasing that he'll enter the ring, but doesn't.
I have something to say.
Renee interviews Team Cena, and they make it clear that Triple H's threats had no effect on them, and they will fight even harder to rid the WWE of the Authority. Guys, you got my vote. It's been going on for a year and 2 months. We want the Authority gone. Bye-bye. This ended in a DQ with the rest of Team Authority getting physical with Big Show outside the ring. The match had been okay for the most part, with Ryback and Big Show looking to end the night with momentum heading into this Sunday for Destiny. I find it amusing how Eric Rowan and Dolph Ziggler are banned from ringside for the match, yet Triple H and his misfits are just allowed to waltz down to the ring. It's Triple H being the living definition of hypocrisy. Chaos ensues as both sides brawl, and the only thing that was missing from Triple H's routine was his shovel, as he steel-chaired all of Team Cena's opponents except for John, and then ending the night by pedigreeing Ryback. I'm gonna be honest, although there were a lot of momentum shifts this evening, this one kind of left a bland taste in my mouth, although it was so cool just to see Nikki Bella get dropped on her ass for good measure. And keep in perspective, people, this woman is not even a poor woman's Kelly Kelly. I'm going to have to give SmackDown a D tonight. It wasn't that great. Not awful, but in terms of pay-per-views, I'd say this was a WrestleMania 26. Yeah, I'm going to go there with that. And now, to head into the 2014 WWE Survivor Series preview. Now, I'm not going to comment on the match that Fandango has, because his opponent has yet to be announced, so I'm going to skip on that. As for the traditional or classic Survivor Series match for the Divas, traditional, classic, call it what you will, I'm just going to simply say this. Mulligan. With the exception of Emma and Paige and Naomi on there, and Alicia Fox, guilty pleasure. I don't see anything redeeming about this match because there's not enough talented divas within that match setup to actually make me care. So, yeah. Next card, please. The tag team titles seem to actually mean something again in the WWE because the Usos and Goldust and Stardust, respectively, have done more than a credible and competent job of actually raising the awareness of the tag team championships and actually making them feel relevant, because all throughout the year when the Usos were tag team champions, they made you care about the tag titles again. And in this day and age where the tag titles have not been relevant for so long, these two teams have made it worth watching again, and that has to be that is credit where credit is due. I'd like to say that Goldust and Stardust will retain, because Goldust is probably in the best shape of his career, because for a guy that's in his mid-40s, or 40s even, whichever your preference, he's wrestling the same age as Cody, like a man in his late 20s. So, and Cody being the way he is as Stardust, we've often said on Raw Down Rebound for years how some superstars just don't have any personality whatsoever, and they're just as bland as a rock, or just another stereotypical version of Randy Orton. Cody as Stardust, he is in a very charismatic and eccentric place that I think he's been needing for such a long time, and it's actually given his profile in terms of character portrayal is a lot of diversity with that. So I think the tag team champions will hold on to the gold just that little bit longer because they work so well with each other. Usos, if I had to pick anybody else to win the gold on Sunday night, part of me wants to say the Usos, but another part of me is saying, what about Los Matadores? Because they're actually going into this with a lot of momentum, considering they've racked up a few wins recently, and as a tag team, they're sorely underrated and underused. And this is a little thing in the WWE. They really need to make more of the teams that they don't use. And, you know, they are so talented. And, of course, as we know them from their previous guys as Epico and Primo, they were a competent tag team, but not used properly. But we'll see. I'm going with Goldust and Stardust on this one. Let me see. We have the shining grace and savior of the Divas division that is AJ Lee, and in my sincere and honest opinion, the best diva that the WWE has seen since Trish Stratus. And that's a compliment to both AJ and Trish, because AJ at this point in time is the complete package as a female wrestler, because her wrestling capability is second to none. But she's got excellent mic skills that rivals that of WWE superstars like Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and retired WWE superstar CM Punk. But Nikki Bella, I think it will do the company and the Divas title specifically a great deal of disservice if Nikki is allowed to become champion at Survivor Series. And I know there's word going around on the wire that AJ is supposedly finishing up with the company as a whole. I say to that, don't believe the rumors until you actually hear from the official source, because rumors are exactly what they are. Rumors. Don't believe a word until you hear it from WWE specifically. It might just be a case of AJ might just be wanting some vacation time, just to spend some time with CM Punk. It might be that. But, again, don't believe a single word until you hear it from the horse's mouth. This one, both of them are so unorthodox, so unpredictable, and, you know, two men that are clearly, for all intents and purposes, 2 beers short of a six-pack, 2 sandwiches short of a picnic, 2 slices short of a pizza. You get the idea. There's maybe 1 or 2 nuts and bolts that haven't been tightened that well. But we're going to see a classic, because Dean, he just knows how to sell the psychology of a wrestling character, and he can back up the moveset as well. And the same thing could be said with Bray Wyatt. On this occasion, the fans will win, because the fans just love both of them. So we're gonna see a classic, no doubt about it. And we come to what will more than likely be the main event for this year's Survivor Series. And I'm actually kind of glad that it's a Survivor Series traditional match that is being the focal point and the highlight, and not just another world title match. I grant the WWE Undisputed Championship should take focal stage, or center stage, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit difficult when their champion will only show up on the pay-per-view when he wants a paycheck. And on this occasion, that champion is not Hulk Hogan. You know, I find it bogus that Brock Lesnar is not going to show up now until the Royal Rumble to defend the title. Or there is some speculation going around that he's not even going to show up between now and WrestleMania 31 out in California. So, you know, it would be one thing if Brock actually showed up just for the pay-per-view title matches, but the mere fact that he's not going to show up until sometime in 2015 just to defend the belt is not only disrespecting the very championship that he's holding, but it's also disrespecting every single WWE superstar that's there day in, day out, scratching, clawing, kicking, and climbing into that 20 by 20 ring just to have a shot at the Undisputed Championship. Now, you can say, oh, it's all still predetermined, but that's not the point. There are plenty of superstars in there. Ziggler, Dean Ambrose. I don't like Seth Rollins' character, but I know the guy is a very, very talented and gifted technical wrestler. Randy Orton, when he comes back. Daniel Bryan, if he ever comes back, because I still hear little stories that he's not doing as well as he should, but until I hear something a little bit more official, I won't comment on it until then. And say what you will about Cena, but at least he's there every single night. He's dedicated to that company and wanting to forward it and build it for the future. Which brings to the point of this match. Now, about 1 year and 2 months ago, when the 7th season of Raw Down Rebound began, so too began the Authority storyline, which, by today's standards, is just a watered-down version of the Corporation angle from 1998 to 99, which saw Randy Orton installed as their champion, being a 2013 version of Corporate Rock. The only difference between Randy Orton and The Rock from those two respective eras is Rock had a personality, was charming and charismatic, and Randy Orton has neither of those things. But still a damn fine wrestler. The problem with the Authority storyline is it's so bland, contrived, watered down, and just lackluster. And it's just living proof that they are running low on ideas in creative, when what they should really do is tone back on the actual story aspects and just say, right, here is combatant A, here is combatant B, there is the match for the night, go. And that's all you'd need. But the silver lining to this is, should Team Cena be victorious this Sunday at Survivor Series, then the Authority is done. And considering how heavily panned and criticised WWE has been with this angle since August 2013, and more implemented in September 2013, all the way through WrestleMania, then stripping Daniel Bryan of the WWE Undisputed Championship due to legitimate injury, it's not hard to see why they are criticised left, right and centre in not necessarily the most positive of manners, but it's just the fact the ratings are dropping and fans just don't give a crap anymore. So with that said, with pretty much everything on the line for either side, if the Authority wins, with the exception of Cena, all of the members of Team Cena will be fired, but if Team Cena wins, the Authority is done. And I'm all for the Authority going, because the Authority storyline is one of the main contributing reasons why I do not watch Monday Night Raw anymore. I'm sorry, I can't sit through 3 hours of Triple H massaging his ego. Now, Triple H, the businessman, Paul Levesque, no issues with him whatsoever with the way he conducts business and wants to move the product forward. Triple H, the character, it's on par with irritating as much as John Cena is. with Stephanie being way up here. I mean, that voice, nails on a chalkboard. Come on now. So, and the other thing is, the Authority storyline is kind of what led to RDR's demise as far as the first generation was concerned, because I made it very, very clear that one of the reasons I stepped away for as long as I had done, you know, after WrestleMania, was the Authority storyline was just killing it every single week. I just couldn't watch Raw with Triple H taking up more necessary TV time than he should be taking. I mean, this is a guy who's a part-time wrestler now. At least with someone like Undertaker being part-time, you know, if he goes to have talk time or camera time, it's very brief but to the point. He says what he needs to and gets it done and out of the way, because Taker in his Phenom guys, you know, he says very little, but it's what he does say is very impactful, and he backs it up with just his actions, and that's just the way it should be. With Triple H, I get the sense he wants to, you know, that he just wants to make sure everybody remembers, you know, what he's trying to say. But the problem is, Triple H is one of those guys when he's doing talk time. Now, don't get me wrong. When he wants to, he can cut a good promo. I mean, particularly during his DX days, he was probably one of the funniest guys on the mic, along with Shawn Michaels being goofy. But it's Shawn Michaels being goofy, you know, and it's one of the things that Shawn's just so likable. But I get the sense at times Triple H wants to have his own talk show, and if that would ever happen, good lord, cable subscriptions would slowly be cancelled, because there are people that you want to talk. You want Y2J to talk. You want CM Punk to talk. You want Steve Austin to talk. You want The Rock to talk. You don't want Triple H taking up any more mic time than he should have allowed nor necessary. And as far as Stephanie McMahon's concerned, less talking the better. So, after that kind of long-winded approach, Team Cena has to win. Because the Authority storyline, like I said, is just killing it for everyone. And, you know, sanity help us should what might happen if the Authority wins. So does that mean, like, you know, more power is going to be abused and whatnot? It doesn't look good. Anyway, guys, until next week's Smackback, where it's either post-Authority era or the worst is yet to come. Kind of a not so great way to end this week, but it's the prospect of the Authority for another year. No thanks. Good night from the night.